Hi everyone, I'm Yusuf, and before we dive in, I thought it makes sense to speak a little bit about why I created this course. When I was preparing for my interviews at Palantir, I had to learn Foundry fast, and it was a bit challenging because for somebody who didn't come from a pure data science background, I found that the existing documentation and resources were very dense. And so I had to take my approach, and my approach to learning is a little bit chaotic, but I try to simplify things. And the result of that has become this course. All of my learnings, it's been complex things made simple, and I've worked a lot with a couple of collaborators as well to establish something that can be of great value. And who it's meant to be of value for would be aspiring problem solvers, future builders, future forward deployment strategists. And the whole premise is, at least what drove me when I was seeking to learn this, was the idea of wanting to use such a powerful tool to just dive in, identify problems, and build out solutions. Because we live in a time where speed is incredibly important. Business landscape keeps changing very quickly, and if you don't have the right approach in how you identify problems and don't have the right approach in how you engineer solutions, quite frankly, whatever value you have may not be effective anymore. So, in short, this is a course to not just teach you how to use Foundry. That's like a byproduct. We're just going to use this amazing tool more so as an excuse to explore more important things that would leave you equipped regardless if you use Foundry or not. And that has to do a lot with how you think as a problem solver and how you approach problems. And we'll be using Foundry to exercise that part of our brains. So, to make this journey engaging, we need some kind of narrative frame. And with that in mind, recruits, welcome to Foundry Ops. I'll be your guide. And as your guide, we will be building what's a good name? The Outer Heaven Intelligence Hub. And our client, Outer Heaven, they have a problem with data. It's currently fragmented, their intel operations are all over the place, so vital information is scattered. And this leads to terrible decisions, and bad decisions always puts operations at risk. So, a forward deployment strategist sees this and immediately usually thinks, how do we solve the core business pain? And the engineering approach for such a situation would kind of be to like build a single source of truth. So we need to, in short, remember, data is fragmented. We need to integrate the data. And after you integrate the data, we need to enable some kind of collaborative analysis that's built on a trusted foundation. And what remains after that would be building like operational applications that put insights directly into the hands of the user, because you want to take all this data that's fragmented and at the end of the day make it actionable for your client. And that's kind of where Foundry comes in. It's an operations platform designed to solve exactly these kinds of challenges, but don't think of it as just a tool. It's like more so an environment that can take all of this messy data and turn it into a very powerful operational asset. So it becomes a pretty damn good strategic advantage. So our project is to build this Outer Heaven Intelligence Hub. And how we're going to do this is that we're going to start with an MVP. And this is key for a forward deployment strategist, because you want to deliver core value first, then iterate, and work your way towards having a final polished product. But we'll be focusing on tracking operatives and missions to first prove the concept. And when this concept is proven, well, there's so much more we can do. With that in mind, let's get into it. So now that our strategy has been defined, it's time to get our boots on the ground. Let's enter the command center and familiarize ourselves with the Foundry platform. A true strategist knows their operational environment inside and out. So this right here is the Foundry home screen. It's your central dashboard, and we'll quickly tour the key areas. Remember, the goal is efficiency. Less time searching, more time solving. So your main navigation is on the left, and home is your anchor. Files is where your project assets live, and applications would be, your arsenal of specialized tools. So let's look at the file section. Inside files, you will find your projects, and this is where our Outer Heaven Intelligence Hub will eventually live. And when we open the applications launcher, this is your toolkit. You have apps like Pipeline Builder. For data transformation, you have apps like Contour for analysis and Workshop for app building. So we won't just learn what they are, but when and why to use each one to solve a problem quickly. So we've toured the command center, and now that we've established our forward operating base, it's no longer just about making folders. It's about building a scalable and governable foundation from day one. And this is a critical engineering principle. So let's create our FOB. From the files view, you click the plus new project, and we'll name it the Outer Heaven Hub project. And herein we can add like a brief description, and this is pretty important because like every step should be deliberate and documented. So what can we call this? Like a central intelligence hub for operatives, missions, equipment, and what else? Intel of course, Intel analysis. So yeah, that becomes your project. So now it's an empty canvas, very empty, but now let's apply a strategic blueprint. So for the strategic layout, we'll click plus new, and over here, what is the first thing that we'll do? Simple, folder. And our first folder, we're going to call it raw data, and this will be the untouchable source. So this folder structure over here, it's not arbitrary. It represents like some kind of logical data flow. And why do we insist on this? Because as a FDS, problem solver or whatever, anytime you have to solve a problem and give it off to a client or have other collaborators working on a project with you, you need to think about tomorrow, not just today, in terms of how others will engage with this and navigate their way through it. And at the same time, it's also helpful for yourself because the structure gives us debugging checkpoints, reusability, and most importantly, it's the foundation for governance and auditability. So as mentioned, let's tie it all back to the client. When the client, or in this case, CEO, big boss, asks how a decision was made, you can easily navigate your way around and show the entire trusted lineage of the data. And an audit trail is pretty damn important. So more or less, we didn't do much, but we kind of worked our way around finding basic navigation. of the platform and how to create a project with folders. And I know probably anybody could do this, but I'm accounting for, I don't want to use the word dummies, but even dummies, because I think there's potential in all of us to solve problems. And there will be a lot more that will come about and happen. Subsequent modules will get more and more interesting, and everything will kind of iteratively build upon each other. So as we go through one module to another, things will become more complex. So to recap Module 1, we established our mission, grounded in a real-world problem-solving philosophy. We've surveyed our operational environment and built the strategic foundation for our project. And this blueprint will be the bedrock for everything we built. In our next module, we get to the data. We'll start establishing comms links and bringing our first intel feeds into the platform. So prepare to go live. Dismiss.